Hi, y'all. Um, Hello from Chicago. I am on reserve again. But today we are going to look at the airplane takeoff distance graph and the airplane landing distance graph. They're almost identical. One's for landing, one's for takeoff. But we're going to just knock out two lessons in one because they're kind of redundant. So, just to show you, this is what they look like side by side. So as you can see, um, one's long. I had to scrunch them up a little bit to fit them both on the screen. So you can see that there's some of the um, lines maybe a little bit further apart on the one. There's a few more lines on the takeoff graph than there are on the landing graph. So just note that and make sure when you're working on your written test that you are using the correct graph for the correct question. So we are going to look at the takeoff distance graph. And as you can see in front of you, um, let's see, I'm just going to pull up the iPad here. That way I can draw on it and show you. All right, so as you can see, you're just going to start with your temperature. That should be given in your test question. The pressure altitude should also be given in your test question. So you shouldn't really have to figure that out. So you'll just draw a line straight up. And if you have a odd altitude for some reason, which they like to do because they like to make sure you know how to interpolate and read the graph. So let's say you have 5,000 feet, and let's say you have 5,000 feet. You just try to keep the same spread between each, all right? And that's not perfect. I'm just kind of, you know, but at that point, say it's 5,000. At the 5,000 mark, you just go straight up with your temperature, wherever that line intersects. I'm going to try doing a better screenshot here. Sorry about that. Let's say it was 10 degrees and 5,000, right? Where that line intersects, at that point, you'll very carefully go straight across the next reference line, okay? So at the reference line, and you'll notice here they have you just at max weight. It looks like probably about right at 3,000 pounds, I'm guessing. If I'm reading that graph correctly. So if that's the case, you really don't have to do much. You just go straight up to the reference where your line is at the reference line, goes straight across. But let's say you don't weigh, you're not at max weight, and you're at 2,600 pounds. All right. And so at the reference line, again, you would interpolate the best you can where those two lines intersect. Then you'll go across horizontally to the next reference line. And you keep doing that all the way across through the headwind and the obstacle height. You're going to do the same exact thing. You may have to interpolate, and you'll go down for the headwind, and then go up on the obstacle height. If there's no wind or no obstacle, you go horizontally. You just go straight across. But I don't know that there's any questions that don't have wind and don't have obstacle. They at least have one or the other. So, but both of your landing questions and takeoff distance use, just make sure, again, I want to reiterate, you use the correct graph for the correct question. Note your wind component and note your obstacle height. I will point out on the obstacle height that you will see the divisions 50, and there's three large squares, 50 divided by 3. So each one of those is approximately 16.6, I believe, and each one of those small squares is like 3.3. So it's like 3.3 feet per, but I think you either have a 50-foot obstacle or you don't. So you don't really have, but just note that when you are when you're doing the graph. Say you're in real life and you have the same graph and you only have a 40-foot obstacle. Okay, so we're not just training you for the exam, we're training you for real life. So just make a mental note of that.